Well, good morning. Debating on this tree, what I want to do with it. It wants to go kind of that way, but I got all this mud here. I thought about following it straight across the road. That way the top, I like to follow them with the tops across the road. That way I can limb them up, cut the tops off, and I ain't got to clean it out of the road. But then I could load the bottom half of that tree in the truck, hook onto the top half, but then I got to deal with this mud dragging it out up to a high spot. But I was thinking about wedging it and trying to get it the top to hit right about where that stump's at, or that root wad. So we'll see. Got Nikki out today. Anyway, I'll get set up here and we'll see what we can do with it. Well, I made my decision. I'm gonna let it go straight across the road. I'm gonna shoot for just on the left side of this bowed out tree right there. Just gonna let it go with the lean. I'll cut up this bottom half, get it on the truck, and then I'll drag the top half up to where it's kind of dry and not so muddy. Yeah, Shane's still a little bit hungry, but oh well, don't matter. But when I was talking to my cousin who's a forester there yesterday in here, we were looking at a lot of these trees, and there's a section, they got a block in here somewhere that they're gonna log, and there's a lot of root rot, especially with these fir trees. Been taking out pretty good sized patches of fir, so I think they're gonna get in here and log it soon. But all these are firewood trees, they won't go to the mill. Had a question yesterday, where do I find all this wood? Is it my own land? No, well, kinda is, you know, it's tribal ground. I'm a tribal member, so I guess I got part ownership or whatever, but anyhow, that's where I cut all this wood, is on tribal ground. And yeah, our mills won't take dead wood. I've had a lot of comments in the past about me cutting in landings where the loggers are, saying I'm stealing their wood, and that ain't the case. Our mills won't take it. The loggers drag it in for the folks in the area to come and cut for firewood, so which is really awesome. So anyhow, I'm gonna get Nikki backed up and start cutting this log up. Like I said, I'm gonna probably bucket there and cut this bottom half up before dragging it into the mud. So I'm gonna drag the top half out onto some dry ground here. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but there's so this tree is completely dead. It's been dead a couple of years, but It's a little bit of moisture in it, but this will be for next year's burning. It'll sit out in the sun all summer and be perfect. Good solid fir. Definitely feeling it. Not in wood cutting shape. nice when that bark pops off. When I first pulled in here this morning, I parked right back there and was checking out what trees I wanted to fall. There's a bunch back here. I'll probably have to fall one more to get loaded, but that's all right. But I walked down, I was walking back, and I noticed some fresh elk tracks in this mud. And then I could hear them down there. My wind blew right to them, and could hear them crashing through the brush. I don't know what's up with that 390. I tore it apart, cleaned it all out, cleaned the plug, tried to start it the other night. Wouldn't fire up, and then put a new plug in it, and it just won't fire up. I know in the past there was something in the switch. I'd have to wiggle it around for it to kick in, so maybe the switch went out. But who knows? 395 is running good though. $3.95, if y'all don't know, was sent by one of our friends. He bought it for me for my birthday. His name was Gil. He lived down in Colorado. He was 94 years old, still cutting wood. He got log trucks brought into his house, and he was putting up anywhere from 100 to 300 cord a year and selling to folks a lot younger than him. And there's a video on the channel. Last year I was out cutting wood, and it seemed like everything that could go wrong went wrong that day. I was just pissed off. Something didn't feel right. And that night I got home, I found out that Gil had passed. But yeah, him and Jane sent me that $3.95, that log PV and stuff. And it's kind of strange how the world works. Kelsey's truck started blowing blue smoke and stuff, her Chevy, so we decided to go get her a new truck. And we looked at a lot of different trucks. We were looking at Tundras, and then we started paperwork on a Ram 3500 with a Cummins. And we were about halfway through the paperwork, and some guy walks out, jumps in the truck and leaves, and we're like, what the heck? So we asked our car salesman what's up with that. And so he went and asked one of the other car salesmen, and that guy says, that truck was sold when you guys test drove it. That's why it was parked up front. So we was back to square one. We looked around some more, and we ended up finding a really nice F-150. It's 2015, fully loaded. It's got all the bells and whistles. Super nice truck. And we were leaving to head home from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and on the way home, Kels pulled over at the rest stop, and she goes, I just had the weirdest thing happen. And she goes, I was trying to connect my phone to the Bluetooth, and it popped up, connect to Gil's phone. So I don't know if the previous owner's name was Gil or what, but it was kind of weird. We had a few good thoughts and talked about Gil there for a minute. And just a really neat person who, he contacted me over a year ago. Well, it's been about almost 2 years ago now. And through email, so we got to talk for hours on the phone, just hearing stories from the 60s and all the old days hunting and stuff. He grew up in California, traveled to Colorado hunting, and he sent me pictures of some beautiful bull elk and bucks that he's taken over the years. But yeah, I was just thinking of him running that saw. I think of him every time. So anyway, drop a comment and say hello to Gil's partner Jane and Gil's boys. Yeah, I'd appreciate it if you guys would. So I know Larry watches the channel. I think Danny does too, his boy Danny. But say hello to Gil's family for me. So I'm gonna run the little 550 XP from William. I believe he's in New Hampshire. But thanks again, William. He sent this off for the kids, but I'm gonna use it to limb this since it's got dirt. I don't want to dull up the chain on the bigger saws. And then what I might do is take and run and make a curve the whole length down the tree and peel that bark off before I start cutting it. That way I ain't got to deal with all the mud and stuff. At least off this one side. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, that beats taking an axe and chopping everywhere you're gonna cut or trying to chop it all the way off. Just make a kerf down the log, peel it off. I need to make either buy or make me a bark spud. That way I can peel the bark off real easy. But anyway, I'm gonna finish this up and then I'll mark it and start cutting. Well, I just dumped 3 more trees. I bucked them right in the middle there, and then I got 2 chokers, so I'll hook up to one log. I think the black truck can pull them out whole, just as long as they're bucked in half. But yeah, there's a lot more wood in here. There's some back in there. A lot of it's dying. There's one right there, one right there. There's more down in there. But didn't get any more video just because storage on my phone anyhow. But yeah, all those 3 trees were together. I was gonna dump a couple more of these, but I don't want to have too many down and then have someone come by and scoop them up. Just about loaded. Got 3 rows and a half, 3.5 rows, so just over a cord. But anyhow, gonna get backed up and do some yarding. Well, I just realized I didn't even film an outro, but got loaded, tagged and bagged. I'm gonna head out of here and go get this delivered and go home, sharpen saws, and get ready to go cut tomorrow. So feels good to be cutting again with the black truck. Those of you who watched the last video when I hauled in this truck, I thought there was something super wrong with it. It's an old truck, it burns oil, and I didn't realize it burned that much oil, and I had only drove it, I think, twice, not even that far. Well, what happened was lifter started taking. Well, I was messing with it. I was gonna move it there a few months back, I guess it was this winter, and I decided, I was like, well, I'm gonna check the oil and stuff, and there was none on the dipstick. I was like, oh man. So I dumped oil in it, fired it up, and I was letting it warm up because it was cold, and I come back out and I don't hear a ticking noise. And I was talking to one of my buddies who's a pretty good mechanic and telling him what was going on with it, because we were gonna swap the motor out. He goes, oh, sometimes them lifters, when they don't have enough oil, they start ticking around and stuff. But anyway, just babying it. It's a wood truck. It's paid for. I ain't got to worry about payments on this one. But yeah, anyhow, I'm out of here. Wish you folks good health and happiness. And yeah, it's good to be back. You guys take care.